Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Learn with Jason. Today on the show, we're bringing back David East. Hey, David, how you doing?
Hey, I'm super excited to be back here.
I
It
am.
was I had so much fun last time, so I had to come on again.
I had a blast last time too, and we're gonna just see if we can turn that up a notch today by going even more ridiculous, which I honestly can't wait for. So, for those of us who aren't familiar with your work, do you want to give a little bit of a background on yourself?
My name is David East, as we have said. I work on Firebase. This thing, and I'm a developer advocate, and I've been doing that for over 6 years since April 2014. Since Firebase was a little startup before Google, and now Firebase for a long time now is part of Google, and we've been helping people build on Firebase for a long time now. So that's what I do.
Nice, yeah. And so last time you were here, we looked at Firebase in kind of a let's get started way, right? We set up a project, we did some kind of read write stuff, and today we wanted to just go ahead and go full blown chaos. And so, what did you have in mind for what we can build together today?
So I was a huge fan of your site. I call it your site rewrite, but I feel like it's been out there for quite a while now. So it's sort of like now it's just your site. But once was your site rewrite, and I really was a big fan of the sounds. I think that sound effects is just such an underused part of websites, and so your sound effects are beautiful. And I think we should just create a soundboard for all of the audience in the chat to click on buttons, and then in real time starts playing the sounds for everybody, which I'm not sure exactly. There's so many different ways to handle this.
Sure.
In terms of, do we queue up the sounds? Is it just a cacophony of noises? Like what are there's so many ways. I'm very excited.
Yeah. I think we'll have to figure that out. Maybe we'll poll the audience. I mean, I know that if we put me on an alignment chart, I'm always hoping I fall right in chaotic good. So I think the cacophony is where I'm leaning to start. Let's see what we can get done. So I guess to start, let's switch over. We'll look at pairing mode here, and while we're over here, take a look at lwj.dev/live. We've got live captioning going for the show. That is done courtesy of, well, not courtesy of, thank you to White Coat Captioning. They are here. We've got Amanda in the chat with us today, so thank you very much. And that is made possible through sponsorships by Netlify, Fauna, Sanity, and Auth0, who all kick in to make this show a little bit more accessible to more people. Thank you all very much, because it means a lot to me. Also, make sure you go and follow David on Twitter. There is a lot of great content coming through here. You can get your Firebase questions answered, along with other general nonsense, which is always fun.
Mostly general nonsense.
And today we are going to be looking at Firebase. So let's I guess start wherever we should start. What's the first thing that I should do to get this soundboard going?
Okay, well, the first thing we should do is, I guess, let's cover what we're going to use within Firebase to do this thing, and also we'll have a decision to make too. So this is even more fun. So right now you're at the we call this the Fire site internally. So this is like the marketing docs, like all the information for Firebase, and then if you go up to the top right, there's go to console, and this is the Fire console.
This is not the account that I'm going to want to use, so I'm actually going to pull over this
through that last time.
Other browser.
There we go, and we're here.
So yeah, let me go to my console. How did I get there? This is the console. Yes.
And so I created a project and shared it with Jason, and my project ID is David Learns with Jason, and it's very good and accurate. And so to the left is sort of your nav of all of the things that one can do with Firebase. We are not going to do everything. Firebase can do a ton of things. I like to say that it's infrastructure for developers and tools for marketers. And we're going to do some of the infrastructure for developers part today. And so the first place I want us focus on is within storage. So if you've ever uploaded anything to a bucket, that's what this is. This is just a bucket, but this is a special bucket because what we can do is we can access this bucket in a serverless way, which that's a very loaded term. But when I say that, I mean, like, you just don't need to run your own server to talk to the bucket. So there's no access control that you have to worry about on your own server. We can secure everything through rules, which if you remember, if anyone was here last time, or if you remember, Jason, when we secured the database, it's very similar to that, same syntax and everything.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so
our security model is super easy. If you actually go to rules, it's already written.
If I go, rules, here we go.
So we have a read-only policy. So we say, hey, we'll allow reads if true, because everyone can read it, and we'll allow write if false, because we have all of our files uploaded. So we just lock that down. Now, if you're doing uploads and user content, then this becomes more complicated.
Sure. But
in our read-only world, it's easy.
Yeah, this is great. And yeah, it's a special bucket because it's a holy bucket. That's correct. I actually thought you were teeing up a joke like, this one is special because it's mine. But so in here we've got this cores JSON, and then do I need to know anything about this? This is just saying anybody can fetch from this bucket.
So for the most part, you don't have to worry about this. But depending on what we were going to do today, I just wanted to be as prepared as possible. So cores.json is a way to say, yes, anyone from any origin or anything can connect out. There's more like ways. You tend to not run into these problems unless you have like a really big open system. Right. But like I said, I didn't know where we were going to put things today or how things were going to go. So I was just like, cores.json. There we go.
Cool. So then in here, we've got sounds. And so these are the sounds from my website. And so to make sure that everybody can hear today, I'm pretty sure I have everything going. We have boop, boop. Boop, boop, boop.
Now I have to ask you, how much time did you spend recording those sounds?
So little. I just beatboxed for like 5 minutes. And that is
a great answer. Because if that would have been me, I would have been like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really appreciate people who don't like obsess over things, and so I obsess over everything. So but I don't want to. So when I hear people like, no, just like 5 minutes, I'm like, teach me your ways.
So the secret I found out is to wait until the last second for everything so that you don't have time to obsess over it. I don't know if it's a healthy way to do things, but it does tend to get them done.
All right, I'm going to have to adopt that. I'm going to set myself timelines, not work on it at all, and then right as the timeline, then do all the work.
Yeah, 6 p.m. the day that it's due. That's really the best time to start.
Okay, all right, I'm gonna write that down.
But yeah, so we have sounds. And so for any of these that we want to listen to, they're just pew, 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 up at this URL.
That's my favorite.
And this is public, right? Like if we drop this into here, anybody can go and listen to that. So this is really fun. And that means that what we're building then is not going to we don't have to deal with the sounds themselves. The sounds are ready. We just have to build the thing that's going to accept the events and then distribute them around to everybody else.
Yes, I feel like this is a good teaching moment here too. So the buckets are really, they're a little more complicated than it, but I like to really boil it down to it's just folders and files. Mm-hmm. I hadn't touched my computer, so I actually I just had to unlock my computer. It's went into like screensaver mode. Anyways. So basically, it's folders and files, and then when you with that URL you see right there, it has that token, like query string query param there. And so basically what's going on there is this URL is totally public for everyone. And all of the files in general are public, but they have this token. And so they're non-guessable, obfuscated files. The security access locks down who has access to it through what we call these GS URLs, where basically through that folder path, it controls access to the bucket. But if you have access to that token or this file, this whole URL, then anyone can see it. So there is the ability to have it. You can also revoke the tokens at any point, but none of the files are directly locked down. There's access to who gets the token.
Gotcha.
Kind of the way to put it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so if I drop this off, you're saying
work this way. Yeah.
Pew 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 pew. Because it's public.
True. Yes, but if we turn that to false, it wouldn't be able to do it.
Auto playing that.
I don't. I mean, honestly, this would be good if we just played it over and over again. This the whole time.
Well, I suspect that's what's going to happen as soon as we make this public.
Everyone's just picking the air horn.
Okay.
There are other buttons, people.
So let's make a thing here. Let me get things over here. Or actually, sorry, you were walking us through the services. We talked about storage. What else are we going to use today?
So storage is good for, this type of content, files, anything, it's binary storage. So anything that is a piece of content, media, something of the sort. There's a lot of crazy things you can do with it, but for the most part, it's media, images, video, all that type of stuff. But for actual communication, like the whole real-time backing, buckets are different than databases. And so we have two databases that we offer. There's the real-time database, which is sort of, the OG database. When people say like, oh, I set up a Firebase, that's really what they mean. Okay. And Cloud Firestore is our new age database. They both are like fully supported by us. One's not like the old version and one's not like the new version. They are two different, databases with two different purposes. But we get to this is a decision point where because we're going to pick one to use to do the signaling of, what sounds get played.
Okay. Given I have no real reference for using these separately, I'm going to leave that decision up to you. Or I guess, Chad, if you have strong opinions, we've got two people talking about Firestore.
Al says Firestore. They're both good choices for this case because we don't really get into where they deviate too much with this kind of, if you're building something for fun, you're not going to really run into either of the, flex points for either one.
Gotcha.
So it's not that big of a deal. Let's go with, let's see here. I'm going to go with the use Cloud Firestore for a nail polish site. That's pretty good.
Nice.
All right, we got two Firestores in the chat, so let's go Firestore.
Firestore. Here we go.
Yeah, all right, so we're going to create a Firestore. Oh, yeah, you had this problem last time as well. I remember. Oh, no, you have this problem because of me. Here, I'm going to create the Firestore. You did have this problem, I remember, because you were not the admin and we had to switch the project.
Oh, that's right.
I put you as an editor. So one second, I'm going to create this real quick.
How dare you?
I know. Well, I did it for your own good because I didn't want you to get into a point where you were like, David, I broke the project. And then you're like, oh man. So I didn't want to overwhelm you. It wasn't a trust thing. There's really not much you can do totally wrong with here. There's no credit card attached to this thing. So if you refresh the page now, it will show a database.
A database. Okay.
Yes, here we go.
So now we have. So I guess if we talk about the way this is going to work, right? Like if we start from the UI, what I'm picturing is just a grid of buttons. And
yes, me too.
because we don't have designs, we can just do words. And it'll just say the name of the thing. And then when you click it, we are going to play that sound in the browser. So that part makes sense to me. That's very familiar. We have a link to the file. When we click it, we're going to be able to create an audio element and like play that sound. All good. That makes sense. The other thing that we have to do is we have to take that event and send it to all other connected clients in real time. And so that's the part that obviously we're going to be using Firebase for. And that's the part that I think I have the most questions around. So are we storing these, or are we using Firebase as like a pass through?
So it depends on how you want to do it. So Firebase is more, so like, I think traditionally you would probably, a lot of people would use more like a pub sub style thing here, where you're just sending a message over and then there's no persistent like storage. Firebase is effectively like what a lot of people think of like a real-time pub sub system, but the storage is there, and the sync of those messages is also there in the database, which is the really hard part. So it depends on how you want to organize it. There's a lot of creative ways you could do here. You could have people technically create tracks of if you click a bunch of buttons and that gets saved, and that's like a queue of things.
That would be pretty funny, but yeah.
Yeah, this might be a little complicated for this. What we could do is we could just create a queue, and then every time someone clicks something, it gets added to the queue. And then if you don't want to make it like just like an ear explosion, you only play after something's done with the queue, you just keep going through it. So it's like a playlist, I guess, of your sounds.
Okay. Well, let's maybe we can, if we set it up as a queue, then we can, if we have time, we can allow for an option where you can choose between ear explosion or loosely regulated chaos.
You could do it where you have a queue and that gets added, and then if and then once one's played, we'll update that it's been played, and so you can filter out. You can say, "Hey, get me the queue." It can be, so the queries for this are also in real time. So if you can say like, "Queue is get me everything that has not been played," and then that will filter everything out. You could do it in the way where you also say, "Hey, like, get me everything on this list, and once I show up to the page, you can play the queue in its like historical context, and then you can also play it all at once because you're like, I have all the files, so let's just a lot of ways to do this.
Okay, so yeah, let's set up this queue. Let's make this work. So what's the first thing that I need to do here?
So this works similar to, it's a NoSQL database. So if you use NoSQL databases, most of them, or a lot of them, the popular ones, Mongo and whatnot, collections and documents. So a collection is a list of documents. And so you create a collection, call it queue, tracks, sounds, ear bleed.
Works with ear bleed.
And then so ID, for this case, since we're going to be using a bunch, so ID is like this is a really important part of a NoSQL database, because what you name things with an ID really affects how easy it is to access data down the line.
Okay.
And so there's no like one size fits all. So, but in this case, because we are going to be asking people to be like, click, 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 the ID needs to be generated. It needs to be something where it's not going to have any collisions. And so in this case, we call these auto IDs. Okay. And so on the client, we'll generate the auto IDs as well. And so at this point, we need to, I guess, use the ID of the storage. Let me go into pull up in mine real quick to look at it. I guess the ID will be the file name. So like thing to play. So like song track. Like,
and can we just do the .mp3?
Yeah. Okay. It's a bad key in general, because like you could have two airhorn.mp3s in that folder technically. So, or in different folders, that is. So we could do like the fully qualified path, but I think that's overkill for now, because
for what we're doing today, I think we're probably okay.
I'll mostly do it as like a caveat. It's just like someone who's watching this later just can think about that. And then played.
Okay, so this is what we'll enter when someone clicks the button. They're going to enter an ID, a file name, and played, which will automatically set to false to start. And then our query is going to pull everything that's played false, play it, and update it to played true. Okay.
Because this is the queue path. So I guess save it, and I guess I can put, for contrast, show like the other way of doing it would be it would be a little crazier. You would have, I guess there's a third way of doing it, but another way of doing it is that you could have just the clobber effect, which is probably the easiest but the craziest. So you would effectively say, okay, we have a thing called active sound, and when they click on the button, we just write to active sound, and that gets played.
Okay.
But the crazy thing about that active sound location is every time it gets updated, it's going to keep getting clobbered over. And so you're not ever guaranteed order in that way. So like if you truly want chaos where you actually don't know what's going to get played, because it depends on like when you opened up the browser, who clicked at what time, like the network, sending things, it's going to be absolute, like, race conditions galore on multiple levels.
Pandemonium.
You can do it that way too. Yeah. And then code wise, that's like a one-liner.
No, this sounds like fun. So let's do it this way, because I think we can create that pandemonium.
Right. You can still do this. You can still have this queue right to the active sound to play.
But this is kind of fun. Like what's fun about this though is that by having this queue, what's also going to happen is we're going to get a history. And so that means that we could do something like pulling the most popular sounds. We could pull the things that have been played most often. We could, theoretically we could add more fields to it later and track like, people in Australia really like to boop or something like that. There's lots of fun ways that we could play with this. I think for now, this is probably good enough. And I also just want to make sure we don't run out of time. I want to have plenty of time for the chat to just go ham on this.
and the last thing I will bring up before we get into the code is authentication. We did authentication last time, and so you have some experience there. It's pretty easy to do, but in terms of, and this is for this session, how much do we care about security in terms of like who can boop and air horn? Because there's a bit of a problem there in terms of like who can write to a database. So if you have a database that's fully open.
So what I think in this particular case, because we're tightly controlling what's possible to do, there's only a certain number of files. We'll just bail if they put a file name that doesn't exist in there, and no one can upload files. I think we should treat this booping soundboard as a open borders democracy. Anybody can make as much noise as they want. We welcome all to the chaos with open arms.
So one thing we could do is we will need to have another field for UID. And we can authenticate people, but we can authenticate them anonymously. And so that means before they know anything, like they don't know, but they're going to get authenticated. And so underneath the scenes, but they get a session ID effectively. And then that way, when we save items, whether we have time to secure it or not, you can say, hey, this person, even though they're anonymous, they technically own all of their own data, and no one can go into the records and mess with it. Because if you don't have any sort of access, then it becomes difficult to control that queue.
I see what you mean. Okay.
This is more so like for our hack session. If we don't do this is fine. But just in terms of people really like to see the reasoning when you structure databases, and this is like one of the key factors of it.
Yeah. So what I should call this UID, right?
And then that can just be you just call it JSON right now. Like it doesn't really matter.
And will it be a string? Okay. Yeah.
It's just going to be a generated format from us.
I gotcha.
Yeah. So cool. That's the basics of the way you would secure it and store it and everything. And at this point, we're good.
Okay.
to start hacking on the client.
Yeah, let's do it. So to hack on the client, I have, let me move into here, and then we'll is this going to create a folder for me when I create a project, or should I create a folder?
You could, you mean like with Firebase, when you do like Firebase init, are you saying?
Yeah.
Oh, create a folder and then do a init inside the folder.
Okay, so we're going to call this Firebase real-time soundboard, and let's get into it, and we'll...
so we would need to add code. Is that right?
That is correct. What's the CLI called?
Firebase. Oh, Firebase-tools.
Okay.
So if you haven't,
I thought I installed this last time, but apparently I didn't. So it's
no modules is a scary world.
So actually, let me do this. I'm gonna get init in here, and then I'm going to run nvm use 14 because I feel like maybe that's the problem.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
Nope, don't have it. All right, so it's npm install global Firebase tools.
Yeah, you can also install it locally if you don't mind.
Yeah, we're already here.
Yeah. I avoid installing things globally as much as possible due to reasons like that. Like actually, once I worked on a project where all my TypeScript code was failing and I couldn't figure out why, and it was because this one project had TypeScript not as a dev dependency, so it was going off the global dependency. And on this one version of Node, which I had to switch back to, had a 2-year-old TypeScript version. So I was trying to compile it with syntax that it was a nightmare. And it was literally like 4 hours of my life I'll never get back.
Okay, so this is Firebase, and I think I can just go right in here.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, and this is just to do all the Firebase things, and we're good.
Okay, so now I'm logged in, so I'm going to Firebase init.
So we're going to want to do, let's see here, go to Firestore. I don't think do storage, I don't think we're going to need it. And if you want to see something cool, we can maybe flash this. Actually, no, don't do emulators because there's no storage emulator yet. So let's,
got it.
There's a Firestore. So just as a little call out too, emulators are ways to run Firebase locally on your multiple Firebase services locally on your machine. So you do no latency, we just launched an authentication one, so you can do all of your authentication code locally. So it's super cool. And so CI systems, CI/CD stuff is much easier now, and doing local testing is easy. And we even give you a local UI to manage everything similar to the way you're doing it in the console.
Mm-hmm. Linda, to answer your question about my terminal color scheme, I honestly have no idea. I think I just chose one minimal.
There you go.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I actually chose any of this. I think this was the default.
That always feels very overwhelming to me when I see
dark
all
background
those
color preset is my color preset. But yeah. So okay, so I've got Firestore and storage selected. So just press enter.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to use an existing project, right?
Yep. And so it should give you, yes, David learns JSON. And then now just hit enter for these. Enter and enter.
All right. Let's take a look.
All right. Boom.
Beautiful.
Is that your own little alias for code to say teach.?
Yeah, it uses a different VS Code settings profile so that the font's bigger and some of the helpers that get noisy are turned off. Makes my life a little bit easier.
Yeah.
I did just set up Starship, and I have no idea if it changed. I don't know. I mean, this part's Starship, and I really like it. And this is all the defaults of Starship with a few limited exceptions. I have my dot files in here somewhere. Where is it? No idea. There you go. That file. That'll link you to my dot files where you can see how I set up Starship and all that stuff. But yeah, so let's look at the configured thing. So the project is set up for David's Learn with Jason.
Firebase, Firebase RC is your projects, because you can this is like a manifest of all the projects that you can switch to and deploy different things to.
Cool. And so this,
we're just going to have the one.
We've got the one. And then default, in here,
this is our rules. Actually, no, Firebase.json. Sorry, it's not the rules. So Firebase.json is a configuration file for multiple different products. So for Firestore, this will tell the CLI if you're trying to upload rules, which we're not going to do. If you're trying to upload rules or indexes, so indexes for creating more complex querying, where those files are. So the CLI knows where to read them and then upload them to the console. And then the rules are the same way. And there is a VS Code plugin to get the syntax highlighting for those who want to do it, which is the best way to write them is locally.
This one, Firebase?
Yeah. Yes. Yep. And so, but we will not be uploading them because we're good with, well, we might do it for Firestore, but not for storage. For storage, we're good with what we wrote in the console.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, that's what these files are, just either writing your rules or just telling other files where other files are, which is all a config file really is.
Good. So now that we've done that, we are just going to create our project, right? Like we're going to,
yep.
And how do we want to do this? We probably want to use, I don't know. What do you think? React?
I loved how you used, we use React. I'm a big React fan. So I loved how you used just templates last time.
Right? Oh, like, yeah.
That was sweet. I like that. That was easy, and you were very well versed with the template APIs and everything. I like that.
So let's go here, and how am I going to copy this because we already have some stuff in the folder? I think what I can do is let's git clone learn with Jason demo base, and we'll put that into site. And that way we can, yeah, sure, why not? And that way we'll get around the problem where it would not let me clone into a non-empty directory. So then I can remove site.git. And if we go back over here, now we have a site. Good. So in this site, if I move into it and we'll do an npm install, that is going to give us a pretty straightforward.
Okay, you got some 11D going on. Nice.
Yeah. So basically, what it does is it gives us like a wrapper, so that we don't have to really write anything. I'll update the rest of that later. For now, we will comment it out. And what I can do then down here is we've got this index.html, which is just an empty HTML file for us. We can put whatever we want in here. So we can start by saying real-time Firebase Soundboard.
And then we're done.
That's it. That's the whole site. If I remember how this thing actually works, we're going to run nullify dev, I think. Yeah, there we go. So let me open this up over here. Okay. So now we've got our Firebase site kind of set up. It's not really doing anything yet, but we do have. All right, let me open index.html again. There it is. And so if I make changes to it, like we'll see those come in real time.
Nice.
So I guess the first thing would be to figure out just the very basics of our soundboard. So we can set up like a div and we'll call this soundboard. And we'll just leave it at soundboard.
There we go.
And then for each sound, we're going to set up a button. We'll give it a class of sound. And that should actually be fine. And then each one of these is going to have a name. So we can go with like air horn.
Mm-hmm. And we'll be able to fill these in dynamically as well if you, yeah. So that way it'll just grab the board and fill the children.
So I can do something like for Soundboard, we'll do, we'll make it margin like 3 rem auto, maybe a max width of 90 vertical width units, set the width to like 500, and I don't know, what do you think? We'll do a background color of, I think I have like a pink in here that we can use. And
like
then for each button, we can set a background of
The boops are getting intense.
Oh, good. We're getting buried. I'm glad this is how. Let me scroll this up so people can see the see the code we're writing here.
Keep scrolling.
And so we'll set the background to be a background color. We'll set a color to be, we'll make it like black, I think, and then we can do a border. None. And maybe we'll set like padding of 1 rem, margin of, I don't know, like, actually, let's not use margin. We'll use grid instead. So we'll make this,
so, some grid gap going on.
Grid. We can set the gap to be 1 rem, and we'll set the justify content to center. And why don't we also set the align items to center? And we'll give this some padding as well. So how about that? How's that gonna look? Cool, that works.
Good.
We probably need to control these a little bit. So let's go with a width of, or no, we need grid template columns. Grid template columns, and we're going to go repeat, auto fit.
Oh, getting fancy.
What is it? No, is this right? Repeat.
No, auto fit is good. Yeah.
Is that right?
I think that's right.
Let's duplicate this. Like
I've just started cramming on grid myself. I've learned how to do things so backwards for so long that I was like, nope, it's time to do it the right way.
Okay.
Holy buckets.
So
Did that
that's
just work?
This part didn't work though. Why aren't you working?
Gapping?
Oh, do these need to be display block?
No, or buttons not. No.
How dare you? Let's see.
Why is it not gapping?
Let's find out.
Oh,
I know what it is. I know what it is. I have that color. That color didn't exist. Okay.
That was just cruel.
That would have got me for a long time. So that also means I think this was working. It does work. And what if? Oh, well, that's not right. 1FR.
They're setting a.
There. I like that. That works.
There you go. Yeah.
And we'll see, what we get from all of these. And then each of these is now a clickable button. Good. I'm happy. Let me set the border to be like 2 pixel solid black, so it looks a little more buttony.
Nice.
It's not great. It's going to be fine. We'll live with
this
it.
is perfection.
And then what we can do is down here, we'll set up just a little bit of JavaScript, and we will say, we'll set up a function that's like play sound or add sound to queue. How about that? And we'll get an event, and then we'll event. We don't really need to prevent default because it's just a button without anything going on, but why not?
But that's what superstitious devs do. Someone who's like, I once did not prevent default, and the whole world collapsed.
And to do stuff, and for now, we'll just alert. Pew, 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 pew. Okay, so now we need to actually apply this. So we'll say document query selector sound.
Sound.
It's going to be all sound. What? Chat is frozen. Why did y'all break the chat? Okay, fine. Let me refresh it.
Oh, whose fault is that?
Yeah, this is certainly not my problem. What did you do? That's not even the thing. That's the wrong thing. Here's the thing that we need.
I love how you have that is.
I
couldn't stream because mine would just be that.
All right, chat, test it again. You better
even start it.
Quit breaking my stuff. Okay, so now what we can do is add event listener. We're going to find out if I'm doing this right at all, and we'll say click, and it will attach add sound to queue.
Boot fast and break things. That's a good lifestyle.
Nope, that doesn't work. So what have I done? I need to for each on these, right?
Adult supervision here.
Oh yeah, you have to for each them, but you can't do that because that's not going to be an actual array. So you have to do on line 41. If you do array.from,
I don't believe you.
I don't think you can do for each.
Look at it working though. Look at me.
It's working. You can for each since when? I've been wrapping this in array.from forever.
No, I think
the comments to explain this to me.
I think that this query selector.
I thought it returned as a node list. A node list says for each? Since when?
It might be. It might be a new thing. Let's see.
Yeah, I was like, does this get updated? Because I remember for the longest time you used to have to like array. This is like my old like web dev, like being like not having any conveniences in life, not believing. I'm like, I can loop over in a node list. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know
each one by hand.
I don't know when this got added. Like, there's no history on it.
Maybe I was thinking of map.
But either way, we're excited. It's all working.
Yeah, 48 is good. It's good. Maybe I was thinking of map, but yeah, I remember node lists being quite simplistic, and so I always array.from it because then it's a real array. But if we have for each, then let's just stick to that.
Okay, so now we've got this is, I think, good enough, right? Like, we can work with this.
Yes.
I am also going to make this H1 text align center just to put it over the top of our
nice
soundboard, and now we've got ourselves just a delightful.
As delightful
soundboard
as
experience. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Brings a tear to my eye.
Well, so now the thing we need to do is we need to set up the SDKs or the libraries for Firebase, and so
okay.
Let's see here. Let's just do that over the CDN.
Okay.
Yeah, like unless you feel like I'll just do it over the CDN. We don't have to mess with node modules. So if you go into the gear up there to the top left.
Gear, got it.
Yeah, gear, and go to project settings. There's a lot we can copy and paste here. Boom, here we go. So these URLs. So we'll just start with the top one.
Just the top one.
Just the top one. We'll come back, but let's just do the top one for now. Just to sort of do it piece by piece.
Okay.
All right, cool. Now let's go and copy and paste that on another line, and we're just going to mess with one file. So we're at Firebase-app. Now change the next one to Firebase-storage. And then lastly, change the next one to do one more, and then firestore.
Okay, gotcha.
So we're going to go with a very naive loading method here. You can be very smart with the way you load Firebase. That is not going to happen today.
So what we are doing instead is we are smashing it over the head with a hammer until it bends to our will.
Pretty much, yes.
Exactly. Good. That's how I like to do things here.
That's what we do things around here.
Boop fast and break things, as the chat said.
So that's another one of my disclaimers of that. This is not the only way, but this is the way we are going today. Okay, great. So now we have all the files. So now if you go back to the site the Firebase console, that is,
Okay.
and copy the Firebase config.
Okay. Just this or all of it?
So you can just copy. I usually just copy the object literal, but you can copy the variable if you like. You just need the actual the JSON-esque thing, so the actual object itself.
Okay.
So now up at the top, just kind of paste that const. Firebase,
Oh wait, I already copied that part. There we go.
Yeah, boom. So now what we're going to do is create another variable called Firebase app. So const Firebase app, and that is Firebase dot, because now Firebase is on the window.
Got it.
Initialize app.
Like that.
And then just put Firebase config. So this will initialize. This will tell Firebase where to talk to your specific backend.
Okay.
So if you wanted to switch to another one for whatever reason, multi-tenancy, all this different stuff.
You can do like Firebase 2 with a different config or something like that.
You can, yes. So actually what you can do is your second parameter of initialize app, you would give it a name, and you would actually have two apps that you could speak with.
Got it.
And then
okay.
Firebase dot apps is an array of your apps.
Oh, okay.
This is about like 95% of people don't need multiple apps though.
And just to check, all of this is public, right? Like none of this is stuff you can publish in your repo. And
yes, we did work with Stripe on some of the extensions we did, so you can add like Firebase Stripe checkout and invoicing really easily. And they call their keys they call them publishable keys, and I was like, oh, that's a good word.
Yeah,
because all this stuff is publishable.
Cool.
So yeah, all this stuff totally fine. The rules is what keeps everything secure. So
gotcha.
Now we can let's start with storage. So the first thing we'll do is create a variable called storage, and just say Firebase app.storage and call it as a function. Yep.
Okay.
So now we have an instance of storage. It's a singleton underneath the hood. Calling it a bunch of times ain't going to do anything. That's a question that gets people are like, oh no, am I creating new memory pressure? No, like it's fine. Now we need to create a reference to the sounds location. So call it sound ref or sounds, sounds ref is good. And then you say storage.ref. And then now we're tapping into that folder in the bucket, and that is sounds. And
is it with or without the prefix or without the slash?
I've never done the trailing prefix, so I can't, or the slash, so I don't know, but that should work.
Okay.
And now we want to list everything in that bucket, which we could technically also mirror this data into Firestore. And so that could be a bit more dynamic, but just because this will save us some time, and because these are the only sounds we're working with, it kind of works well in this case. And so we can list everything. So go to a new line, and since we are at the top level, we'll have to promise chain this because top level await isn't ready for us yet.
I mean, I can wrap this thing in a...
If you want to wrap it in a function to give yourself some async await. And I'm very excited for top level await to be a thing.
I have my hopes and I have my concerns. I do think it's gonna be good. Like I do think that it'll be helpful.
It definitely has some craziness to it, but I'm tired of wrapping things in functions, and I'm just going to ignore all the bad things that can happen.
Okay, so now we're gonna get our list. So this should be actually sounds, right?
Yes, and so what you can do is say sounds ref. Yes, await. Good. I always forget await. I'm like, it should know. Sounds ref.
How dare you not read my mind?
How dare you not know when I need to await? Seriously, all my bugs are that. Soundsref.list
I'm sorry. I'm just picturing you like, yeah, all my bugs. So just you and your computer. Like, how dare you?
I could send you a video I did that's on the Firebase YouTube channel, and literally there's a spot in the video where I go back and write await, and then I even say in the video, and I go, I always forget this. And it's just true. I always do. I run into the bug, and then I'm like, what do you mean that's? Oh, I'm like, what do you mean it's a promise? And I'm like, oh, I didn't await it. Just every time.
Excellent. Okay, so I'm awaiting soundsref dot
list all.
Okay.
And don't call it sounds, because what you're going to get back is a couple different things. Call it, I just remember that. Call it result. I don't know. It's a great term. Or actually, let's get even better. Let's destructure. Instead of result, do one and just say items inside the object, because that's one of the properties that comes back. You get back prefixes, which is kind of like subfolders, and then you get items, which is everything at that folder level. So all we have in this case are items. So let's just do a sanity check, because this is the kind of developer I am, and let's console.log items.
Here we go.
Look at you labeling it.
I can't function without. Okay, so here's our items.
And so that right there should be
location, bucket, path.
Yep. So these, I believe, are all references. And so on the prototype chain should be a method called get download URL. And that will actually when we shared that link in the chat, same link that it's going to give us back. And so
if I do, okay, so hold on. So if I do sounds items.map item, and then I'm going to return item.get, what was it? Download URL?
Mm-hmm. But the thing though is that these are all, that's asynchronous. It's going to be a promise. So you're going to need to do some promise.all.
You're right. No, let's not. Yeah. Let's not do that. So we'll get promises, and then we'll get sounds equals await promise dot all promises.
I always like to create a variable for promise.all that's promises. And I don't know, just because it sounds funny to write promises in your code base. But I never try to inline
this. Is it capital URL?
Oh yeah, it's capital all URL. Yeah.
Okay.
I like the lowercase version of URL, but that is not our style guide. So
here we go.
Boom.
Okay.
And there we go. Now we have all of the stuff. So now,
good deal. Do we get other information? Yeah. So
actually, but I think we stripped it by doing that. Actually, we don't need to do this.
We can fix this. Get ready. Watch me go. Watch me move.
You wrote the code.
So we'll do a URL, and then we will send back also the name, and the name would be in. Oh, I lost that part. Do you remember what it's called? Like item dot.
I'm trying to remember. I think it's there. I have. Oh my gosh! See, this is why I use TypeScript. So now I'm like, I am so lost right now. Item dots.
What is that nonsense? You stop that right now. Okay, so here's my items. Item dot.
Let's see.
Location dot path.
I think it's path. Yes.
Okay, now do I need to do like a get path or something like that?
I think if you do ref.toString, I believe, gives you the whole path. Let's just do that. Let's say, because each item, so I call item.toString, and I think it might be, gosh, I feel so dumb right now. What are we getting back here? Yeah, that's the full GS URL. It's the full path. We really just want that last bit. So maybe it might be .path. Not as a method. Yeah, I think that's it.
Undefined.
No, it's undefined. What is it?
Well, so this one is what's actually in the object.
Yeah, I think that is underneath the.
So I'm cheating, but it works.
I'm like trying to run through the docs really quick, which is always funny because when I scroll through the docs, there's like videos of me being like, "This is how you do it," and I'm like, "I know, Past David, you know how to do this."
So Tony knows this. Tony says we do .child And then is it the string path
Because it was,
like that?
no, I think what he's saying is that,
I did that all the way wrong.
oh my gosh, I feel so dumb here. Storage.ref, where is the root.parent?
Oh, that returns the item ref, so that's not what we're after.
Full is not full. Oh, dot name. Do dot name. My God.
Item dot name.
Yes.
Heyo.
There we go.
That's exactly what we needed.
It was the easiest one. Occam's razor wins again.
Okay, so I'm just going to .mp3 get that out of there, and now we'll get air horn, boop, click. Yep. Okay, perfect. So now that we have our sounds, what I can do is I'll turn off the logging here, and instead we will do sounds dot for each sound, and then we're going to let's get the container, or we'll call it soundboard. Like let's be descriptive here. It will be document query selector soundboard, and then for each one of these we will create a button. That button will be document.create element button. And
People point out that we still have the promise on the thing, but actually I think we can get away with actually stripping out. Actually, well, we do want to resolve the promise, because what we want to do is we want to create like a global or like a store of like the URLs. Because then when this so how about this? Let's create the button first and then we'll get there.
Okay. Okay.
I'm like,
okay.
I need to hammer you with tons and tons of information as you write code, because that's the best way to do it.
Okay. And so then I think we also want to do like a button. Hold on. MDN data attribute JavaScript. I want to data set.
Yes, I always forget that as well.
And it would be sound.name.
Oh yeah, you have dot button for create element.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay.
Yeah, you're thinking classes and everything. Yeah.
And then we'll do button dot inner text is name, and then we'll do soundboard dot append child button. Okay, so then I can get rid of these.
Yep.
And now we got close. We had a good run. So I got almost there. I typoed something.
I don't think you put the value.
Whoops.
Would you do inner text? Oh, sound.name. You want to know an interesting? You can do text content, which I think is more compliant to XSS and other performance things, but they have like subtle differences that go beyond the scope of this 5-second explanation. But so now we have that filled. So the way I think we can do this is that we want to have like, in like almost like a little store, like the way you can think about it, like a Redux store or something like that, where you want in memory sitting around like a store of all the files and all the sounds. So you want like a hash of like the name, the same thing that you're assigning to the data set, to the data dash as the key, and then the value being the sound. And then that sort of like just gets populated on boot up, on page load. And then when people click and then we say, hey, what's the active sound that's coming through? We do a lookup on that to say, boom, that's the one we're playing, or the next one that gets played, or something like that.
Got it. Okay, so we will set hash item dot.
So and someone's asking if we know audio elements. I don't think we'll need audio elements, because I think we'll just be able to create new audio classes or objects.
Okay, so I'm just gonna grab this out, and then we'll set the hash to be the name. And then we'll set these values in here to also be the name. And that means I don't need this anymore.
Structuring.
You're not going to clean up for me? What did I miss? Here's my reducer. Oh, I guess it doesn't.
I know you did dot reduce, and then I was like, I'm out. You're alone on this one. I would have done a for each.
What did I miss? What did I screw up here?
Oh, I never used reduce.
There, that was it. Okay.
Oh, you just
so I still screwed something up. Object is not iterable.
I think.
What you yelling at me for? Oh, so now it's not an object anymore. But we actually shouldn't need this anymore, right?
Well, it's still going to return a
Why
promise
are you still
to
doing that to me.
So what you could do is you can get
this is
all
now
the names.
This is a promise.
That will, URL will still be a promise. And so what you could do, I don't know if it's the best
Let's just
way.
do it we'll just do it the slow way.
Is that going to work? Instead of reduce, then
Don't you lie to me.
What? Don't you lie to me.
Sounds.forEach is not a function. What is sounds then?
Yeah, what is sounds?
Oh my goodness. My JavaScript language not working is killing me right now. So that whole thing is a promise.
Oh yeah, because you return it as a sync, so it's going to be a promise.
That's right. Okay.
So you just have to write await everywhere possible.
But it's still not doing what I want.
So now it's destructured out. So you get back. Oh no, it's because you're writing the. So you have sounds inside of sounds. So just console.log sounds without the destructuring. And I think at this point,
this
you're returning an object.
This isn't destructured. So this, I should be getting the hash, the accumulator, the value.
Oh yeah.
So my accumulator is an empty object. And so what I should be setting up is, I know what I'm doing wrong. So we're going to set that value and then we'll return the whole hash.
Mm.
And then we get 1, but it doesn't do the rest. Why?
Like I said, I anytime someone's like, well, you can use reduce for that. And I'm like, you can.
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah. David East uses a for each.
Okay, so this part worked, but
spread
now
in the reduce is what we're getting in the
spread. No, I don't need to spread. I need to get this to wait, which means I need to crap. Oh, why? This is where async starts to break my brain. So this is a promise. If I await this, it breaks. Which means, because we're getting the value now that I want. We've got our hash. We've got the name. This is really small, isn't it? Let me make this bigger. We've got the name. That's working. And we've got the URL, but we need to resolve that promise, which means
your inner thing is a promise.
Yes. So I need to. We don't even, I think, need to await that anymore. Right? So we don't need to await that anymore, but I do need to await these, which means...
Someone has a good point. I think you can do it this way, actually. You can say const URL equals await item that get download URL, and then because then it should run through the function. I don't know if
I don't think that's going to work because this is the...
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I don't think it waits.
Okay, I have another idea that is probably not the best practice, but
this is like 6 items, so it's like
I know this is this is not the right way to do it. But what we're going to do is I'm going to return the item.
Yeah, I see what you're doing. Yeah.
No, I hate this. That's not right. So so we've got our reducer. What? But I can't do that outside of the reducer. That won't work.
He's
Tony.
saying above, like next to below const name.
Yeah, I can do this, but that still won't work.
Right. I think it's not. I don't know. I've never done a sync await and a reduce.
So that would mean that this needs to be async. And so then what we'll get back, I think, is a single promise. Okay. So if I await that, I get back a single air horn. So the problem that we're getting is that by doing it this way, it breaks the reducer. So instead, what we need is for...
You can do like a for of and iterate over each one, and then you can resolve inside of it. So
okay,
like
so you're saying like for item of items.
Yeah.
Then I want to get this, and then we'll just have like a const sounds equals an object like this. Okay. And then for each of these, we'll do sounds name equals name URL. Okay, so let's get rid of this.
I think. But now I don't trust anything anymore.
I trust no one.
Yeah.
So that worked, but I screwed something
But it's an object now. So now you're doing a for each. So if you do like you...
that's
so basically
fine.
you want to...
That's fine.
Yeah, you need to object.keys.
Object.values.
Oh, .value. Sorry. So
that's fine. That's fine.
So
we get
old
there.
school.
We're getting there. Here we go. Yes. Ha-ha. All right. So that was a long way around for a short walk, and a good reminder that sometimes you don't need a reducer.
Yeah, this is I don't know if you know Jake Archibald on the web DevRel team at Google. He's a staunch don't use reduce. And I'm going to send him this.
But no, I mean this is it, right? We didn't have to do any mental acrobatics. We didn't have to make our code more confusing.
Right.
We had some async stuff in line. So just do it in line. That makes way more sense. However, it's been so long that I actually didn't know. I forgot the syntax. So that this is very nice.
Yeah, I just started using for of again. So it's been nice.
Okay, so now what we've done is we're gonna have the button is going to be event.target, and then we can get the sound name will be button.dataset.name. And so now we should be able to alert the sound name. Okay, let's try that again. Air horn.
Boom.
Power down. Okay, so now we have this is the plumbing, right? We've got the sounds are being loaded in. We're displaying them on screen. We're clicking buttons. So now this is the Firebase part. We need to, when we get this, we're going to send this to Firebase. Oh boy, we got 22 minutes. Can we do it?
Do you want to do it all in one line right now? Because we can. It
yes,
won't be
I
that
do.
crazy either.
No, let's do it. Let's make it happen.
All right, let's do it. All right, so write Firebase.
Oh, so we would need to.
Sorry, do Firebase.app. Sorry, Firebase app. Not Firebase.
Firebase app.
Firebase app. Even though this is the same thing, I just prefer doing it this way. Firebase app dot firestore as a function.
Okay.
Dot collection. And then string for, what do we call it? Q.
Okay.
And then call dot add.
And it's an object, right?
And then it's an object. And then what our set was, what was our object? File name?
Let's double check, make sure we get it right. So I'm going to go back to Firestore and our queue. And for the object, it's file name, played, and UID. So
yes,
file name, played, false.
And we can you can skip UID for now too if you want.
Okay.
So do file name and just that's the sound.
Oh no, that's not. That's it's going to be soundname.url.
Well, actually, no, you don't need that because we can do that signaling on the. You could actually, this fine this way too. It's all a matter of architecture. You could technically do that. you're storing the end results of state here versus like I was thinking you would store the thing that signals to the client what to play. So you're basically asking who has control.
Okay.
What's on the server, what's on the client. In our argument, in our case, for our 20 minutes left, it doesn't matter. I'm wasting our time. Let's keep moving.
I like where you're going from. So we're gonna send up the sound name, and I'm gonna leave the UID off.
Yes, just for now. It's not going to be the most secure thing in the world, but
that's okay because this is, the idea here is that this is like an open world sort of thing. So now what should happen is not going to alert anymore. I'm going to click a few of these.
And then when we go to the console,
we should see more objects.
New entries.
There we go. Okay, so
and so this we don't have it ordered. Actually, we need to do a timestamp. This also is very easy. So let's go back to the code because the the auto IDs are not ordered.
Okay.
So what we would do is you would say time is fine. Yeah, I do timestamp is good too. It doesn't matter. Do Firebase dot, I can remember this off the top of my head. This is where TypeScript always helps me. Firebase dot firestore, but don't call it as a function. Dot capital F field capital V value dot timestamp, or is it dot server timestamp?
Let's find out.
I think it's dot server timestamp. Let's see here.
You are correct. It is not timestamp.
Yes, it is. It is lowercase s server and then capital T timestamp as a function.
Okay, so
and
now
so what that is it's a placeholder value. You could say like new date.get time or something like that. But what that is that's server time. Mm-hmm. And so it's not hacked in on the client. Gotcha. So that it's always good to rely on server time, and we make it easy to do that.
Okay.
And so in this case it wouldn't matter, but for real life. So now we know what time let's play. So when we write a query, we can query by time.
Okay.
So what was added? So now what we want to do is we want to be able to get the things that should be played.
Yes.
So we're going to write so somewhere on page load or something like that.
Well, we're already running this in init, right? So
so somewhere in init, doesn't really matter as long as it's below Firebase app. We need to write a query. So write const query.
Okay, so this is the last bit, const query.
Mm-hmm. And so Firebase app dot firestore as a function. Same thing you did dot collection of Q. And then we want to let's see here. What is it? Oh my gosh, this is for TypeScript. Like I said, is it firestore query? I think in this one.
Would it be list all again?
No, it's not list all. I am trying to find the order by one. I'm blanking off the top of my head. I do order by. Well, actually, what I do is when I have to do order by, what I immediately do is I think about how it works in each one of the databases, and then I can't remember which one it is. So I'm like, I could name a bunch of things. Order, yeah, here it is. Order it. So this one is dot order by. And we want to order by timestamp. Order by is a function. Yeah, it's just, and then timestamp.
Like that, okay.
Yes, and this will be in ascending order, I believe. And so now we have this query, and then now you can, on the line below it, write query dot on, lowercase o, on capital S, on snapshot. And this is an observer. So this is the real-time magic here. And so call this as a function, and this is going to return to you a snapshot. It's a observer is in the callback function inside of on snapshot because it's a real-time stream. So you, write snapshot. And so every time there's a change, every time people are clicking stuff, boom.
Got it.
This snapshot is the, at that point in time, the snapshot of what that collection looked like. And so this has an array of docs on it. So snapshot.docs.
Like that?
Yep.
Okay. And so what we should see then, as soon as I load this page, is that we'll get something in here. And
yes,
these are references.
Document. Yes. And so what you need to do is you need to get their data. So this is an array, like a pure array in docs. So you can actually say docs.map.
Okay. So we'll say Q equals snapshot docs map.
Mm-hmm. And then D doc is doc.data as a function.
Okay.
And so that will give you back the actual Q as an array.
Here's our queue. And there was a question about like clearing the queue in Firebase, but because we ordered by timestamp, it just ignores anything that doesn't have a timestamp, right?
Yep.
Cool. So that's perfect. That works exactly the way we wanted. Good. All right. So now we have our sound effects, and with 15 minutes left, I want to get these up. But actually, what I'm going to do right now, because we want to get all this stuff set up here, is I'm going to
get people add to the queue.
Yeah, let's let people start adding things to the queue.
This is the scary part.
I didn't commit anything I didn't mean to. Good. So let's git commit, and we'll say work in progress. Sounds add to the queue, but don't play. Okay, so let's git create, learn with JSON, Firebase.
So Linda was asking, how do you skip, how do you toggle something's played? So each record in the queue will have its ID. And so right now we're stripping the ID. That's easy to fix. Well, we can retain the ID. And then when something has played, after it's been played, which I think you can do something like that with the web API to know like when a file's finished playing, we can on that played callback right out to the database that it's been played.
Good. Okay. Our build command. I think I'm just going to leave.
Building? Oh, you have your 11D thing going on.
Yeah, it's going to be site. That's not going to work. So I'm going to have to figure out how to, I got to move this this netlify.toml to the root for us. And then we're just going to set the base to be site, and that should solve all of our problems. So let's git add all. Git commit.
See, config is just a file that has to know where other files are. That's all it is.
Okay, so let's get that, and then we'll double check all of this. Base directory does not exist. I don't believe you.
I don't believe you.
There we go. Now what? No site ID found in the current directory. How about now? There you go. There you go.
Boom.
Okay, this one's published. Let's go look at it. Here's our real-time soundboard. It's pulling up stuff. And we should see in the queue here. Yeah, now we've got 8 of them. So, chat. Go get it. Let's cause some chaos.
Away.
And while you click this, we should see these start loading right. Yep, here we go. Everybody's in here. Making a mess.
This is dangerous.
Here we go, chat. Oh, this is going to be so loud. All right. So while the chat makes a just complete nightmare of sound, let's. Oh my God! Look at it coming. Okay. So we now need to.
Some of these.
We got to get this built fast because otherwise we're going to have to wait for an hour and a half for all these sounds to play. So now what we're doing is we've got the snapshot, we've got the queue. So now we need to play a sound and update its played status. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
So what we need to do is whenever a sound comes through, we need to take that file name and find the URL in that object we have in the global thing up top.
Okay, just getting our, make sure we're running again. We're good. Okay. Oh boy.
Oh my God, there's going to be 1,000. You get 55,000 writes to Firestore per day for free.
Good. Let's rate limit David's account, everyone.
Yeah.
All right. So the thing that we're going to need first is we've got the queue, we've got this collection. You said that we want to play it and then we want to update it. So we need to do two things. Create and play audio element.
Oh my God, there's about to be 1,000.
Update.
There's 1,000. I'm like, I'm sorry, are you doing something? I'm just looking at that console download.
Okay, so to create and play an audio element, I'm gonna just go and look at.
You just do new audio, and then you do that that object, and then you do audio.play.
Okay, so we've got audio equals new audio, and then we need to make the audio. Is it audio.source?
No, you can do it in the constructor.
Okay.
It is audio.source, but you can do it in the constructor, not as an object, just as a string.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so then we're gonna do sounds, and it was our queue has.
Oh, we'd have to do this for each so the audio is just gonna be one track, and so you're gonna have to do queue.for each.
Can we filter for unplayed here?
We could do another order by. You could do .where. I wonder if it's gonna
played.
Work like this. You do played equal. I'm like comma.
Like that.
Parentheses. No, you do played and then do string equal, and then false. Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, just like that.
Okay.
And so that will get us all the not played ones.
Okay, so then what we can do is queue for each, and we'll call this sound. No, I'm trying to give unique names to things so that we don't get confused.
Yeah, inside of the loop, it's always good to do that.
Each of these, we're going to get sounds, sound effect, name, dot name, dot file name, and then dot URL.
So, they said they destroyed the quote rate, which might be detrimental for us trying to. They did.
Maximum. All right, everybody, stop booping.
I don't know how long I'm like, can we finish now?
We'll find out, right? We'll see what happens. But so for each of these now, we're gonna get our list here, and then we're creating audio with that URL. And
so let's go a little crazy here. Sorry, not go crazy here for testing. You can limit the amount that comes back. So instead of getting the 1,000, you can just limit to like 1, and just so we're not.
Yeah, let's go. Let's add like medium chaos. Let's do 10.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. So then for each of these, we need to audio. Is it just the audio.play?
It's just audio.play. And but what's going to do though is it's not going to play them this way. We can go this way for now. It's going to play them all at once.
Yeah, that's fine. Because what I think will be fun for this is once this is actually running, then as people hit buttons, like it'll be as if we're all sitting at each other's computers mashing keys, and I think that's really fun.
All 10 will play at the same time, though.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Just making that clear.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, obviously this is not exactly what we want to do. Probably with 2,000 of these, but
I don't know. Maybe it is.
Yeah, I think when we're caught up with real time, it'll be kind of fun because we'll be able to to make these noises and everybody will just kind of mash keys. But let's then we need to set this up where we've got this sound effect, and now I need to update it to say played.
Yeah. So one thing we need to do here is when you call docs.map, we're just getting back the data, which does not have the document's ID. So doc.id does. And so we're losing that piece of information. And so return an object. And what I like to do is just say ID. Yes, and just like that. And say ID is doc.id and then just spread over spread doc.data. Yeah, just like that.
Like this?
And so ID is just a property, not a method.
Got it.
Yeah, just like that. Yeah.
Okay, so now we have an ID. And so here then we would do like Firebase app.
Just dot collection. Oh, sorry, dot firestore dot collection.
Firestore.
And then
collection.
Of Q. Actually, you can say not collection. Oh, so you can say .doc. We can do it this way. Yeah, say .doc. And then that is of the sound effect.id. So that is the individual record now.
Okay.
And then you can say .update. And then as an object, say played true.
And that's all we need?
Yep. There might be some race conditions because of the amount of ways we're doing things, but I think that's good. I'm a little nervous just from the amount. Anytime I see that many updates, I'm like, ooh.
Missing after argument list, I typoed.
Oh, it might just be the...
Oh, I just have... I'm short one.
I think, yeah, I was going to say, I think you're short one parameter, parentheses, yeah.
Quota exceeded.
The quota still exceeded.
Okay, so maybe what we can do just to demonstrate this is we can go way back up here to where we only had a few of these.
We also can do, let me see here. I don't know how much time we have left. I could, actually, I'm going to do this 1 second. I am going to see what I can do here.
Can I just copy this? Copy property path. I don't want that. Stores global variable. What's it stored as now? Temp1. Okay, so
come on. I'm trying to do a hack real quick if I can get it in time. I don't want to tell anyone because everyone's gonna break us.
Let's see. This unfortunately does not have the ID, so we're going to be hosed.
Yes, but we're not hosed. I think, well, with everything they have, I have a bit of a hack. 1 second. I am going to create a new project, seed it with the sounds, and then we just use the config and all the code will work. We just switch the Firebase config, that is.
Oh, okay, I got it. So we'll just come back over here, and I'm going to go to Firestore.
So I've created a new project. It's in the middle of creating. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to send, how do you want me to send you the config?
I don't know. Maybe Twitter DM, I guess.
I'll send you to Twitter. All right, creating buckets. Come on. Setting up rules, because I'm just going to upload all those files again, and then that way it should just work. David got a call from DevOps today.
Okay, so with 2 minutes remaining, let's look really hopeful that this is going to work for us.
I think I can do it. I'm uploading everything.
Didn't even consider that there was going to be a rate limit here.
I didn't either. I'm not going to lie. This is... all right. 1 second. All right. I'm doing so many things at once right now. Create.
And while you're getting that config, I'm going to do a quick shout here. Remember, the show is live captioned. The show is live captioned. It's brought to you by White Coat Captioning, and that is made possible through Netlify, Fauna, Sanity, and Auth0, who all sponsor the show to make things more accessible to more people, which we really appreciate. And make sure you go and check out the schedule. We have a lot of really fun stuff coming up, including on Tuesday, Cassie Evans is going to join us, and we're going to do interactive SVG animations. That one's going to be an absolute blast, but don't sleep on that schedule, y'all. It's going to be really, really good stuff. I see we are getting buried in boops. David, let's see. I'm going to drop your Twitter one more time in here.
Yeah.
Anywhere else that I should send people?
I don't know. I feel like that's good. Twitter is good. Firebase is good. I don't want to get too greedy here. Yeah, I like that. That is good.
Yeah. Go and definitely go check out the Firebase docs. All right. Do you have a new config for me?
I do. I just DM'd you.
Got it. Okay, grabbing it. And we're going to throw this in and we're just going to see what happens. So here is our new config. I am dropping it in. I'm saving it. I'm reloading the page. 404.
Wait, why is it 404? Did I not save it to the right?
Check the error payload. It says nothing.
1 second. I'm seeing if I did everything right. 1 second. I uploaded to sounds. That's what we called it, right?
Client variation. What is this? Decoded. No, these are the request headers.
Yeah, that I don't. Here, give it a refresh. Maybe it just needs a second. All right, go to console. What is? I can't even read this. So,
Firebase storage. An unknown error occurred, but it's given us a 404 on the prefix sounds delimiter. It's like it can't load that. Is the storage name, the
maybe
bucket name's the same?
Did I not change the rules? It should be here. Go to the config you pasted in.
Here, yeah.
Just in storage bucket. That should be right. I don't know. Maybe it's because I literally just created it.
It looked like we were missing a piece.
Oh yeah, go back.
So here's what we had.
ID. Okay. 1 second. That might actually matter. Let me see.
Well, we have an app ID in the new one.
Oh, then what's the old one?
Measurement ID? That might just be like a reporting analytics thing.
Oh, wait a second. Did I not finish booting this up? 1 second. I may have not clicked all the way through.
Okay, if this doesn't work for us, we are unfortunately going to have to let this one.
Yes, I think. All right, no, I think that should here. Give it one more refresh and cross our fingers that things will just magically work. And now I don't. Okay.
Unfortunately, no.
No. Okay.
Well, chat, you sufficiently caused enough chaos that we actually broke it, which is fine. So what we'll do is we're gonna have to we'll tweet about this once we figure out how to get the quota either lifted or. Yeah. Is that just a timeout? Like that'll clear in an hour or so?
Yeah, I think it's for like the hour or something.
Okay. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to revert here. And yeah, we're getting a quota exceeded, but this should work. So we'll test it as soon as the quota clears. We'll make sure that it works and we'll tweet about it and we'll see if we can make a bunch of noise on each other's computers. And maybe we'll have a good play with this at the beginning of our next episode just to show it working. But as always, David, thank you so much for coming on and hanging out with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Got some links out there. Chat, thank you so much for spending some time today and causing lots of chaos for us. And I think that's it for us today. So one more shout out to White Coat Captioning. Thank you so much. Stay tuned. We're going to raid and we will see you next Tuesday.